Well, thanks for joining us on our council preview program for the 22nd of July. I'm Tom Laux here from the City of Marshall's Communications Department. Steve Barg, City Administrator, and Mayor Lois Teestrake.
Great to be with you as always, Tom.
Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for having us, Tom.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us, all three of us here. And we're going to preview the next council meeting. There's quite a few things on here, some new things. I think everyone would be interested to knowing what's going on. So, Steve, you have all the stuff because you've done all the hard work. Board of Public Works and Consent.
Yeah, thank you. We had a couple of committees that didn't meet this month, but Board of Public Works did meet on the 15th of July. They had two items. The first one was awarding a bid for a water main extension project on Yellowstone Drive. And this was pretty exciting. This is the first project in our new TIF District 12. That's the area that, we're so excited about the certified site, the shovel ready, the whole thing that we've gotten approval from the state of Wisconsin. But this, Lois, this is for a company called Next Gen Agronomy. I think you were out there at the
Yep.
ribbon cutting. They do agricultural service business, and they bought 4 acres, and they're putting up a project. They're building as we speak. And one of the things they need, though, they need water and sewer. And so it's a small extension of water main we need to do to the property for them to connect to. But this is going to be just an exciting thing for that part of the industrial park.
Definitely. Yep. Like to see that first step moving forward.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hayden and his team are great. They've been wonderful to work with, and as they wanted to, they really wanted to be here in Marshfield, and we were glad to have them. I think it's going to be a good kickoff for more things to happen in TIF District 12, Tom.
All right. Well, you were talking about that TIF district and talking about that area. Next Agronomy is on the side of the proposed, hopefully, new developments
That
down
area,
the road.
right?
That area
Yep.
There is no sewer over there yet, right?
Into the 120 acres?
Yes.
I mean, it's available to extend to,
Okay.
but yeah. We talk about shovel ready. That doesn't mean that if you buy a parcel, you carve out one in the middle of the 120 acres and you say, well, where's my water, where's my sewer?
Right.
It just means that it's been extended to the property line or is available from the property line for you to work out a deal. And what we expect to happen over time is, Tom, for people to carve off portions, probably initially more accessible than farther to the east. But we're ready to handle them. We're looking forward to great things in the industrial growth.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then there's one other piece that was on the Board of Public Works, traffic modeling and analysis.
Yeah, that sounds pretty big. If you turn to the second page that I had in your packet for that, right there, you'll see some of the things that this is about. Tom Turchi, our former Public Works Director, used to talk to me about that a lot. He moved on now, and Josh Moritz is doing the acting Public Works Director job. But you see, I'll just read it. The city has seen frequent delays and stops of traffic at 27 of our signaled intersections in the city. And as a result of that, there's questions about whether or not the traffic is moving well. How can we learn more? How can we model based upon different times of days what we're experiencing? Maybe modify the settings for those traffic signals. In order to do that, you need to have a technical analysis. And so we're working with the state on that. We're glad to have them. We're always glad to have the state pay 80% of the bill, aren't we, Melissa?
Absolutely.
On some of our projects. And this is one of those cases. So the goal of this is to improve traffic signal timing, make the intersections more efficient, reduce travel times, reduce carbon emissions from people sitting too long at intersections where they really ought to be able to move through more expeditiously. So the study would be costing about $120,000. The city would pay 20% of that, which is $24,000. The rest would be picked up by the state. And again, we're so grateful for state funding. I don't think you would see this project work or happen if we had to pay the whole $120,000.
That's for sure.
In our budget, that's typical to picture, or
Correct.
difficult to picture. But I'm sure we've all sat at intersections. Wait a minute. It seems like when I come up here, you wait too long, or why does it work like that? Well, you need data to work from, and this will help us gather that.
How do they know the certain intersections now? Is there already been given, or is that they still have to go out and do a review of these intersections?
Well, we've done some review to the best of our abilities with the technical equipment that we have and the processes we have. And I know a couple of them. I drive through certain ones where I think, I wonder if that's quite right. But this is going to be a much more detailed and involved study.
I think all of us have said that, sitting at a stoplight saying, is this thing ever going to work?
Well, I know.
I don't know the law. I really want to know the law. Can you go through a red light if it doesn't go? Don't do it, but I just don't know. Something I wanted to ask Jody.
Yeah, I've seen people do it when it appears the light is not working.
Right.
I mean, literally not working.
Correct.
Not that you're bored and want to get home.
Nope. Matter of fact, the other day, I went through one because it was not
Oh,
working.
yeah.
The lady next to me, the lady behind her. So then I went with them, and we all went through the
Oh, yeah.
red light. I won't say what I've heard because again, we need to talk to Jody, and then
Right.
we're gonna talk to him and see if there is some kind of possibility. We really don't want to do that anyway because there is a reason why the law is now. You can turn right on a red light.
Right.
That's
long as it
okay in the
says
state
no
of
turn.
Wisconsin. Right.
Yeah.
Or you can turn left on a one-way. But as
Oh,
far
yeah.
as far as the other way,
Right.
yeah, we don't really. And just wait till it actually happens, everybody. You're going to know the first time you go through an intersection that you've been sitting there for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be, say, 60. And you're
Yeah.
going to say,
Oh, wow,
wait a
that's
minute,
great.
one more thing. So
Yeah.
this is great, yes.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. It'll be exciting to make the changes that come from the report.
Correct.
It
Yeah,
will.
and it's been a while.
It has been.
If I remember.
It has been a while, yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah.
it's time, definitely.
Yeah,
It'll
definitely.
be a good upgrade.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Those were the only action items that you pulled out,
Yep.
Steve. There are a few. Well, there really isn't anything. It's just minutes on there if they pull those out.
Yep.
All right. Second reading of an ordinance 1533 on lead and galvanized water lines. These are maybe 100 homes, or businesses? Am I right?
I think
Or
it's
more.
maybe mainly homes, and that's probably the right number. I think he gave a number at that meeting, but
Yeah, I can't remember.
100
the number.
sounds fairly
It was in that 90s. I
Yeah, it
remember.
sounds
but
correct.
I think a lot of people want to know more about this.
Yeah, and again, this is for health and safety. The water lines that are the old lead ones, are not what they should be in this day and age, and we want to get those replaced. In 2022, we had a chance to do it. I think I mentioned that last time, but then the funding dried up from the state, and they're trying not to put the burden on property owners. I mean, it's an expensive thing if you have to cover the entire freight. I think the council, and I'll ask Lois in a minute too. I think for the most part, felt it was a good proposal. For the lion's share, most of this will be what's called a forgivable loan, where provided that the work gets done properly and whatever, the loan will be forgiven. In some cases, that the homeowner will have to pay for maybe 25% of the improvement, depending upon your income and that kind of thing. But 3 or 4 things were brought up at the meeting where council had some questions, and I want to turn to them. The first one, if you look at the ordinance here, and I get on page, I don't know how far into my page is, but it's redlined from the ordinance. Somebody on the council had brought up, I think it might have been Councilmember Rigel, said, wait a minute, you say upon notice from the water utility. What does that mean? I mean, does that mean an employee could call and say, yeah, well, we're going to do this, and here's how it's going to work, and then here's what you need to do, and then the person later, like, you did? I don't remember that. Did you talk to my husband or what? So they wanted it clearly, the council did put in like it says here, after receiving a written notice. So the notice has to be in writing to the property owner so they know what's going on, not drop a note on the door, not make a phone call. And I think that was always the intent perhaps of the utilities group, but this makes it clear.
And we actually did get a written notice. So I went there and
Oh.
got my bottle,
Oh.
and did the due diligence.
Good for you.
And went down to the ag department and turned in my bottle of water.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. They actually did that, and then the funding dried up. So we might have some lead, not sure, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm anxious to see how it goes, and then I can report what happened with ours.
Oh, there you go. Great.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Interesting.
so we did get a written
Thanks
notice.
for sharing
Yep.
that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and then it says here that toward the bottom of page 2 in the red lining, the written notice must be provided at least 14 days prior to the time for inspection unless the property owner agrees. And again, this is to make sure that there's no questions that can't be answered in advance. If a person wants to call and say, look, I got this letter, I'm confused. What are you coming here to do? And what's my responsibility? Then you turn to the next page. Then there was one where it said in number 7, it just wasn't as clear as it could be. It says replacement for customer side lead pipes must be coordinated between the property owner and their contractor. They wanted it to make sure it was added that the utility had to be part of that conversation, which makes sense. And then finally, there was a big discussion at the first reading, Tom, about penalties and about how they would be issued and what dollar amounts, and would it be based upon a first violation or what if it continues. The first time around, it wasn't very specific, and a lot of the council concern was about that. So you see that whole thing written in there now. For first violation, a written warning will be issued, allows the property owner 30 days to correct. If it continues after that, a second violation may result in a $50 per day fine. Ultimately, a third one could lead to $250. I like this a lot. It's very clear that you're not going to have the book thrown at you if at first you're not compliant. But then there's a step system. If you're not trying to comply, you're going to start facing some significant fines for that. And so I think Nick did a really good job of addressing the concerns that were brought up on July 8th.
Okay, so the fines would be for if you didn't go ahead and replace
Correct.
these pipes, but these pipes are not in your home; they're outside the home. That's
Right.
That's what it's an actual
You gotta-
a main
right.
of coming in maybe
It's
like
a
a lateral. in a way?
It's a lateral.
lateral.
It's a lateral is what it is.
Okay, just not a sewer lateral. It's the other kind of lateral.
Right. Right.
Same idea.
Right.
Okay, that helps
But you
understand.
can pick your own contractor. I think there might have been concern
Okay.
about that. No, you just have to make sure that they're qualified and that they do the work and that gets certified as being correct.
So earlier there were probably quite a few homes that had this done already.
Yeah, back in the earlier part of the decade, I think there was some being done.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the money dried up.
That's why, and we have to by law to get that let out.
Yeah, we
because
do.
the water
We do.
can see that come in their reports probably when they test or something with the water or even going in the wastewater treatment plant.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that.
I don't know either.
But, people need to realize that it's a public
Okay.
health issue, and some people might be like, why do I have to do this? But it's really for your safety and your
Absolutely,
health
yep.
and
And your neighbors
and your
and
neighbors and
everybody
everything.
else.
So.
But generally they've been notified already somewhat by
Yeah.
a letter that they know they're one of the maybe 90 to 100, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So really,
They-
it's not, I don't want people to think it's for everybody.
No.
I think
Right,
that's
right.
where
The
people
people are
should know.
thinking.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not. And it has nothing, I mean, if you're watching council meeting and, oh, I don't have this money. No.
Right.
Nope.
And think of roughly 100 out of, I don't know how many homes we have here.
A lot.
We're talking about a fairly small percentage.
Yeah, that's what I, excuse me, I thought, so. All right, I think we made that pretty clear.
Okay.
Hopefully that works out for everyone.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Talk about a resolution adopting and approving an amendment of number one project plan. And this is like a mouthful here, Steve,
Yep.
I'm reading.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to.
It's pretty messy.
Well, I'm just, it's something about boundaries with tax incremental District 11, and tell us where 11 is.
Yeah, it's in the southeast part of town. It was created, I think, back in 2016 or thereabouts to facilitate the new, at the time new, Quick Trip. That was our second Quick Trip. That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Now that we have 4.
Right.
But they needed help at that time to get the water and sewer run to the property, and the city created a TIF district to facilitate that. And we paid for the water and sewer. They've been paying their taxes. It all gets paid off. It's all good. But there was an annexation recently, last year, by iState, annexing 10 acres out of the town of Marshfield. And their idea is to move from the location they have on Central Avenue, the south end of the downtown, and move and be able to build a bigger, nicer facility for themselves on the newly annexed property over there. And so as part of that, we've gone through a lot of hoops, but one of them we want to do is get that added to the TIF district. Now, iState has not requested any financial assistance from the city. They're doing it on their own dime. They weren't looking for any help from us. But we want to get that in the district so that in the future, if anything happens on that property, it's eligible for assistance. Plus, it also makes it possible to do some infrastructure improvements. One of which is the improvement of if you look at the map, the improvement of South Draxler Drive will be added in this. And that's something that we might want to do. And there's other infrastructure projects we might want to do too for future development in here. And we can use those now to make those upgrades, use the funds. But basically, it's to add that 10 acres to the district.
Okay, I was just looking at the map. I know
Yep.
no one can see what we're looking at, but Quick Trip is on this map, correct?
Correct,
Right in this
correct.
corner here?
Yep, yep.
And this part here is Draxler about,
Yep.
probably? Okay.
Yep, correct. That is
I got
correct.
it.
And then
So, but what
this
was
area in the-
annexed is this,
yellow.
not too long ago.
Right.
We own we don't own the property.
No,
We
it's
sold
right. Right. But if you look at you see that yellow part, that's the 10 acres. But
Yep.
but the part also to the left of that, I know you're not looking at a map on TV, but that's they're going to occupy all that. I mean, they're not just going to build on the 10 acres. They need the 10 acres as part of a major expansion. So they're going to be building on that existing part of the TIF district as well. And iState's a great employer.
They are.
We're so
indeed.
thankful to have them here.
Yes, absolutely. And they're going to do justice for the town. More jobs,
Yeah.
more opportunity. So how great. And to give them the extra or to allow this to happen is going to just make it better. Like Steve said,
Yeah.
someone else comes in, the property's there. We don't have to worry going through the hoops again. and stop that and start it up again. So this is going to be a great project,
You know,
definitely.
Lois, you're really good at this, of being on the positive side. And sometimes people say, well, why don't we have that kind of business? Why don't we have that kind of restaurant? But when you look at the businesses we have here that other communities would die for, and the list is really long.
It is very long. Yes. Yep. Just be surprised. Just kind of take yourself through town and just see what we
Yeah.
all have, and you'll be surprised. Yeah.
Get out there, drive
Right.
around.
Definitely.
A lot of good commercial and industrial businesses that we have in our community.
Definitely.
Yes, we do.
What is this called? For zoning, is it like just business? What do you know?
I think it is zoned light industrial. I
industrial?
believe light
It's
industrial.
not like
I think.
you're going to put a home out there, right?
No.
Nope.
That's all I was kind
Yep.
of curious on how that works, and I had a couple constituents call me on Friday about zoning, and I
Yeah.
actually found it pretty easy on the map.
Yep.
It was
Right.
actually very nice how it
Yeah,
works. on
I
the
mean,
city
it
map.
actually was designated as a mixed-use district, which would allow residential, but I don't think the intent was ever
No.
that there would likely be residential. in this.
All right. Well, everybody should get out. They go to Quick
Yeah.
Trip over there. They can see what they're doing. I was over there not too long ago.
Yeah.
And it's going along.
It's going- yeah,
no
they're
building, but
they're
they've
building
done-
right along.
That
But things are
land is a
moving
lot of
forward,
work.
You
yes.
can see what they're
Exciting.
working on. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
They
right.
brought in a lot of dirt and rock, and
Yes.
all the plumbing I noticed is in
Yeah.
a lot of it
Correct.
underground.
Yeah.
Right.
And I noticed our inspector was there a few times. and
Yes,
watched. I
yes.
could see his
Oh yeah.
video.
Yep.
Yep.
Brian,
Making sure
yes.
everything's done right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's cool. All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about this is new here. Request to make a payment to the fairgrounds.
Well, yeah, and this, I wanted to talk briefly about how this comes about, because as Lois knows, at the end of every agenda, there's a chance for council members to bring up an item that they want to have on another agenda, in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. But it's possible, if you think something is more time sensitive than that, to bring it through another way. And that's for 2 members of the council to make a request in writing to add something. And I'm not trying to scrutinize, but I sometimes will say, is it that time sensitive? Well, in this case, the Fairgrounds Commission is trying to get some work done, and they really would like to see the funds come in. So we had 2 of our council members, Jen Dallas and Rebecca Spiros, have requested that this move forward at the next meeting. What's going on, Tom, if you look at the capital improvement plan page that I think I shared in there, yeah, that's the one right there. Historically, every year for many years, we have put in the capital improvement plan and ultimately in the budget $25,000 per year, and the county does the same thing. So we have $50,000 a year being given to the Fairgrounds Commission to do things to keep those buildings and facilities up. It might be siding, it might be painting, it might be roofing, or whatever they have to do. And it's all good, but it's come up recently, and we've talked to the county finance director and certainly talking to our finance director, Jennifer Slensky, that sometimes the money may be used for other purposes, and we're trying to make sure that it's used for the purposes that it's called out to be for. Not for other types of minor repairs and stuff like that, but for things that really help keep the buildings the way they're supposed to be. So I had a meeting the other day. I went to the Fairgrounds Commission, and I think they'd like to expand that definition. They'd like to maybe change the way it's written up and say, look, can we have a little bit more flexibility to do things that are good for the premises, but maybe are not improving a building specifically. So the city in 24 and so far in 25 has not made its payment. And the request here is, we need the money. They've got things they want to do. So I was there and I said, look, if you can just show the fact that what project it's being used for, and well, I guess one of them is going to be the Expo building. Well, that's great. That's a wonderful use of those funds. So what Jen and Rebecca are trying to do is get that money freed up as soon as possible to get in the commission's hands to make those payments. So I just want people to know we're not being resistant to paying the Fairgrounds Commission. We love what the fairgrounds are about. We love all the things that go on out there. But we're just trying to do things right and make sure that we can tell the taxpayers why we wrote a check for $50,000 or $25,000. And I think we're going to get there. But I look forward to the conversation, and I'll fill people in on what happened at the July 17th Fairgrounds meeting.
Okay, so 25,000, and you don't know if county paid theirs yet.
County has paid both those years, and I told them the other day that the city will pay theirs for 25 if we just get something in writing showing that here's a quote from a vendor to do the work, you've accepted it, we'll cut you the check and get you on your way. 2024 is a little bit maybe more confusing how that went down, so I'll have to talk to Jennifer Slensky a little bit more too and follow up with Justin Casperson, our Parks and Recreation Director, for a little history on why that payment maybe wasn't made, and we'll follow up. Again, we're trying to work with people. We're not trying to be
No.
obstructionists.
And it's budgeted, right? It's always
It's been budgeted, yeah,
because
it's been
in their
budgeted.
CIP.
Correct.
And then it moves over, but okay.
Yeah, I
All
think
right.
that's my understanding. I have to look back at the records in '24 though. Was it in the approved budget? I think it was.
Okay.
But again, the main point of this, the person in the home is probably thinking, well, do you want to help the fairgrounds or not?
Right.
The answer is yes.
Well, we
Of
just
course.
did help them a little bit. We fixed a sports press box.
Oh, and then,
Right,
okay.
the Parks and Rec did. They
Okay.
spent we spent extra
Spent some
money
time
on
on
that
that?
Correct.
because it had a violation
Right.
for
Oh, yeah.
safety. So
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah,
I think
that's
that
right.
was
The
close
sta-
to 20
the
grand.
Stairway going up to
Yeah,
the
yeah, it
we
looks
did.
nice,
We
too.
did.
Yes, it's
Yep.
beautiful.
It's
Yes.
beautiful, and yeah, I've been
It
a
needed
press
to be
guy.
done, too,
I
yes.
used to walk on those
Yeah.
rickety things, not
Yeah.
ours,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
others. And
Yeah.
yes,
Right,
glad it
right.
works. Okay, thank you for that, Steve. All right, special council meeting on the 9th, debrief. That was with Visit Marshfield.
Yeah, we had a good meeting with Visit Marshfield. I
We
think it
did.
went well.
Absolutely, yes. They gave us a lot of parameters to work with. Now the council, I feel now the council and the public, because it was a public meeting, has more of a idea of
Yeah.
what Visit Marshfield does. Not that they haven't before, but it gives us all more to work with. And I was excited when I left the meeting, definitely.
I was too. I think Matt McLean and his team did a good job of explaining all that they do, what they're working on
Yes.
now, what they plan to work on in the next 5 years. A lot of good questions were raised. In fact, I'm getting the council some follow-up information that was requested, from their financial, side of the thing. So what we want to do is, and I just put in your packet, not that we're going to read it here today, but two pages of the agenda or of the minutes. You can see there were a lot of questions asked. Tom, they brought up things like, well, why do you, what kind of events are you trying to do? Well, how do you market? Why are you promoting the way you are? All sorts of things about what they're trying to accomplish. And that's good. So the council has a good understanding, and the mayor as well, about what the goals are. Now what we're going to do is a two-part thing. In open session, we're going to debrief about what we learned. A chance for the council by themselves to talk about, did they get everything they needed? Did they still have more questions? What do they think about the way? Because what we're working on is whether or not we renegotiate and re-up actually another agreement with them for 3, 4, or 5 years, something like that, to be our tourism entity. And what that means, Tom, is they get 75 or 70% of the room tax revenue, where the city keeps the remaining 30% for park and recreation. Or do we want to look at other alternatives? Do we want to negotiate a contract that is worded differently? Do we want to look at other ideas for how we allocate those dollars? So that will happen in open session, and then if the council wishes, I've got it on closed session. When we go into closed session, we've got another item, but they can also talk about this. They can discuss in private, not in front of Visit Marshfield. They can say, well, Steve, I'd like it. Could you talk to them about that? Could we see if they could change the contract like that? Kind of like we do with developers on projects for commercial, industrial development. So it's got an open part and a closed part, which is going to look kind of weird to some people, but it definitely is for a reason.
Okay. Just some people say, wait, you give them 70%, but that's a state law that they have to do because of their tourism entity. Someone's got to do tourism.
Yeah, we got to spend 70% of that money on tourism activities and development, the way it's laid out in state law.
Yeah, state law, and it's
So-
probably pretty intense of what you qualify as tourism.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
yes.
it is.
You don't. Is it,
And
so
there are a couple cities who have gone away from that and created a tourism commission. I think Stevens Point is one of them, where they've had a commission appointed by the mayor and council, and they've decided where to give the money. Maybe they give most of it to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Maybe they give it to somebody else who's doing a big festival, bringing people to town. I don't know, but 70% needs to be spent on things that qualify by state law, and it's very particular. And really, honestly, Visit Marshfield has met that mark for many years now.
where's the other 30%?
We use it for projects that also bring people to town, so it's really tourism, but like improving our ball fields and all the facilities we have, including parks and trails and the zoo, that bring people to check out Marshfield.
And that's one of the things, just to point out, I think a lot of municipalities, when they get money from things like this, they're using it similar for that.
Yep.
Because otherwise you're running yourself into a risk
Correct.
Oh yeah.
of funding something that has really nothing to do
Nothing
with
to
that.
do with it.
And then
Correct.
Yeah. So
Someone goes to Madison and we're in trouble
Yeah.
if we're using monies inappropriately.
or using it for something that you got to have and you don't have it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So
All
it's
right.
very particular.
Yep.
And again, I want to commend Visit Marshfield on the great work that they do.
Absolutely.
And have done for many years. And we'll just let this play out and see what the council has for concerns.
Okay, so that'll be on the agenda. And then the last one that's right in open session right now is strategic plan that was brought up by Council Member
Tompkins, yeah, we're still trying to nail down dates for the meeting with our consultant on the strategic plan process that we're excited about. Coming up with a strategic plan for the city all over, broadly speaking, for the years ahead. But we did do one at staff level and got council involvement back in 2022 through 2024. It's got 7 categories: infrastructure, economic development, quality of life, administration, communications, human resources, and financial management. Each one has 3 or 4 goals. So Natasha made a good point. She said, well, before we launch into a new plan, what have we done on the last one? Of those 25 goals or so, what did we complete? What did we partially complete? What did we not get to for some reason? Maybe staffing or finances or something, so that we know where we're beginning, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
You do that at your home if you were, changing priorities. Okay, well, we finished the driveway, now we got to get the roof done, and you look at what's been accomplished and what your money is to do the rest of it. So I'm gathering right now, Tom, you and others are providing me with reports on what you've done and what was finished and what wasn't, and I'll share that with the council and walk through it, give them an idea of where we stand as far as some of the projects that have been outlined in the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, it's one of my projects here today yet.
Is to get on that.
It's been in my
I'm not
email.
calling you out on that.
No,
Yeah.
but I know it's there.
Okay,
I saw
Tom's
it.
got to get to work. We got no more time for the
Yep.
program.
Yep, no, I got to get that done too with
Yeah.
the other 10,000 things. But
It's,
that's all right.
it's
Yep.
interesting for me. We've had some staffing shortages and some other things, but I'm getting reports from a lot of the staff that quite a few of the things have either been done or partially done.
Sure.
Which is good to see.
And you'll provide that to the council
council.
and the people that are online.
And I'll walk through
I'm
it.
watching. Okay, all right. And then there's a few, there is closed session. I don't know if you can touch base on
Yeah,
that or not.
just real briefly, a touch base. One of the items was the thing with the tourism agreement that we talked about with Visit Marshfield. And I can't talk much about more than I said about debriefing, and then we'll see what they want to do. The other one is a continuing thing with the Weinbrenner project. And what I really want people to know is, I've heard people say, what's happening? I'm not seeing anything, I drive by there, whatever. Well, you're not going to see anything happen for a while. Weinbrenner is still operating
Correct. Yes.
out of that company
Right.
location. So, and they will be until like early 26. But we still have this company called Jeffers. We're still working with them on what redevelopment might occur. It looks to be largely, if not entirely, residential. A lot of conversation about how it plays out in terms of types of apartments or price points or whatever. But that conversation is continuing. Can't talk about the details in this meeting or in open session, but I think people are going to be pleased with the way this is going to turn out and see this as a great improvement to that corridor.
Absolutely. Yep. A great start. And it's just going to keep moving forward. And if anybody has any ideas, share with your council member or
Yeah.
call me on the phone and just say, hey, what do you think of this? Is this part of the plan? Not that we can do everything you want, but we'd like to hear from you as the public also, because it's actually you that we're making this happen for.
Yeah, and Jeffers intends to preserve the integrity and the heritage, keep that sign and
Yes, which
some
is-
things to make it, to really recognize and applaud that company who's
Definitely.
been a great employer.
Yes, and again, drive out by the new Weinbrenner.
Yeah.
Who I just did the other day. Ooh, how exciting. Yes.
It's great.
It does look nice. All right, well, we're out of time. Thank you both for coming. And tune in on the 22nd or come in person and join us at 6 o'clock again on the 22nd for our second, well, really third council meeting.
Meeting of the month,
But
yeah.
second main council meeting. So thanks again so much for joining us here on our council preview program.